Something on your mind?
I have some questions.
Of course.
What can a Templar do exactly?
Essentially, they're trained to fight. The Chantry would tell you that the Templars exist simply to defend. But don't let them fool you. They're an army. The other main purpose for a Templar is, of course, to hunt mages. To that end, we train in talents that drain mana and disrupt spells.
So couldn't others learn these talents?
Perhaps, but there usually isn't much of an opportunity. The Chantry keeps a close rein on its Templars. We are given lyrium to help develop our magical talents, you see. Which means we become addicted. And since the Chantry controls the lyrium trade with the dwarves, well, I'm sure you can put two and two together.
So you were addicted to this lyrium?
Thankfully, no. You only start receiving lyrium once you've taken your vows. You don't need lyrium in order to learn the Templar talents. Lyrium just makes Templars' talents more effective. Or so I was told. Maybe it doesn't even do that. The Chantry usually doesn't let their Templars get away either, so they can spread their secrets. I'm a bit of an exception. Lucky me.
You don't think that lyrium is really all it's cracked up to be in regards to Templars? I think people can use those kind of abilities without it.
Something on your mind?
That's questions.
Of course.
Can you teach others to be a Templar?
Sure, I could. I could even teach you, I suppose. Anyone who's been trained as a warrior. I guess if I'm going to give up Chantry secrets, I may as well go all the way. Send whoever you want trained to me in camp, and I'll see what I can do.
I'm already Templar, technically.
Something on your mind?
I have some questions.
Of course.
Tell me about the Grey Wardens.
Such as they are.
Where are the nearest Grey Wardens from here?
That's a good question. There's plenty in Orlais, but who knows where they might be found. And the nearest Orlesian city is weeks away. If we go north and cross the sea, there's bound to be some in the Free Marches. Again, however, I just don't know where. I don't know anything about Grey Wardens in other lands.
Is there a headquarters somewhere?
Here in Ferelden, there's our compound in Denerim at the palace, but that's it. Loghain will have control over that and be watching it, no doubt. Beyond that, the only place I know of is Weishaupt Fortress. That's the headquarters of all Grey Wardens in the Anderfelds, 1,000 miles from here. But I've no idea how to even contact them. So unless we try to get back to the compound in Denerim, I suppose the answer is no. There's nowhere for us to go.
So what happens now that there's just the two of us?
I imagine that eventually the Grey Wardens outside of Ferelden will wonder what's happened. Why there's no contact from Duncan or someone. They'll send someone eventually. Though who knows what Loghain's people in Denerim will tell them. Maybe they won't send anyone. We could try to contact them. But that would mean leaving Ferelden, and even if we did, they couldn't come back with us in time to stop the Blight. So that means whatever happens, it's up to us.
Will we need to start rebuilding the Order?
I mean, eventually we would have to use the joining to make more Grey Wardens, right? But I don't know how to do the joining, or what's involved. I know it involves lyrium and some other magic, and that it's really difficult to prepare, but that's it. Unless we can find out more about the joining, I guess we better get used to the idea that there might only be two of us for now. Until more come from elsewhere.
I have no more questions.
About the Grey Wardens, anyhow. Fair enough. Something on your mind?
I have some questions.
Of course.
So how did you become a Grey Warden?
Same way you did. You drink some blood, you choke on it, and pass out. You haven't forgotten already, have you?
I mean before that.
Let's see, I was in the Chantry before. I trained for many years to become a Templar, in fact. That's where I learned most of my skills.
You don't seem like the religious sort.
You're telling me I was banished to the kitchens to scour the pots more times than I can count. And that's a lot. I can count pretty high. The Grand Cleric didn't want to let me go. Duncan was forced to conscript me, actually, and was she... ever furious when he did. I thought she was going to have us both arrested. I was lucky.
Why did the Grand Cleric want to keep you?
I wondered that myself. It's not as if she valued me highly. I think she just didn't want to give anything to the Grey Wardens is all. The Chantry didn't lose much. And I think I can do more fighting the Blight anyhow, rather than sitting in a temple somewhere. I'll always be thankful to Duncan for recruiting me. If it hadn't been for him, you know, I wouldn't have.
He was a good man.
He was. A good man who didn't deserve his fate. That much I'm sure of. Come on, let's go. I think I'm done talking.
No, you're not.
Something on your mind?
I have some questions.
Of course.
So you said this Arl Eamon raised you.
Oh, did I say that? I meant that dogs raised me. Giant slobbering dogs from the Anderfells. A whole pack of them, in fact.
That's not what I remember you telling Flemeth.
Well, if you're going to go and pay attention to the facts, then fine. Let's see, how do I explain this? I'm a bastard. And before you make any smart comments, I mean the fatherless kind. My mother was a serving girl in Redcliffe Castle who died when I was very young. Arl Eamon wasn't my father, but he took me in anyhow and put a roof over my head. He was good to me, and he didn't have to be. I respect the man, and I don't blame him anymore for sending me off to the Chantry once I was old enough.
Why did he send you off to the Chantry?
Arl Eamon eventually married a young woman from Orlais, which caused all sorts of problems between him and the king because it was so soon after the war. But he loved her. Anyhow, the new Arlessa resented the rumors which pegged me as his bastard. They weren't true, but of course they existed. The Arl didn't care, but she did. So off I was packed to the nearest monastery at age 10, just as well. The Arlessa made sure the castle wasn't a home to me by that point. She despised me.
What an awful thing to do to a child.
Maybe. She felt threatened by my presence, I can see that now. I can't say I blame her. She wondered if the rumors were true herself, I bet. I remember I had an amulet with Andraste's holy symbol on it. The only thing I had of my mother's. I was so furious at being sent away, I tore it off and threw it at the wall and it shattered. Stupid thing to do. The Arl came by the monastery a few times to see how I was, but I was stubborn. I hated it there, and blamed him for everything. And eventually, he just stopped coming.
You were young.
And raised by dogs. Or I may as well have been, the way I acted. But maybe all young bastards act like that. I don't know. All I know is that the Arl is a good man, and well loved by the people. He also was King Caelan's uncle, so he has a personal motivation to see Loghain pay for what he did. Anyway, that's really all there is to the story. Something on your mind?
I have some questions.
Of course.
Why have you remained a Templar if you hate the Chantry?
Have you seen the uniform? It's not only stylish, but well made. I'm a sucker for good tailoring.
There's your uniform? Where's mine then?
You didn't have to put up with all the years of boring bookwork and all the rituals and prayer, so you don't get the uniform. Consider yourself lucky.
So you earned your Templarhood, is that it?
Paid in blood, sweat, and hours upon hours spent flagellating myself in the dark. The true mark of any pious man out there, I tell you. You don't really want to know about my being a Templar, do you? It's really quite boring.
I do really want to know, yes.
Poke, poke, poke. Tell me everything about your life, Alistair. All right, if you insist. It's not like we have anything better to do, right? The truth of the matter is that I did hate going to the monastery. The initiates from poor families thought I put on airs, while the noble ones called me a bastard and ignored me. I felt like Al Eamon had cast me off, unwanted, and I was determined to be bitter. But I took some solace in the training itself, I guess. I was actually quite good at it.
What did you enjoy about the training?
The education, mostly, but also the discipline. You need to have a disciplined mind in order to use the abilities we have. It was difficult, but rewarding. I never really felt at home anywhere, though, until I joined the Grey Wardens. And Duncan felt my Templar abilities might be useful for when we encountered Darkspawn magic, so I kept it up. What about you? Do you have anywhere you consider home?
My home was taken over by Arl Howe.
Right. Stupid of me to ask. I'm sorry. We won't always be traveling like this, you know. Once the war is over, once the Blight is... well, a time will come when we'll have to think about having a real home again. Though that seems like a far ways off. And I suppose the Grey Wardens are gone for good. Either way.
They can be rebuilt.
I suppose you're right. We can create new Grey Wardens, but we'll never get back those we lost. I wonder if it would ever feel the same. Anyhow, now I've sidetracked us. We'd better get back to what we're supposed to be doing right now. Something on your mind?
I have some questions.
Of course.
If you were raised in the Chantry, have you never...
Never what? Had a good pair of shoes?
You know what I mean.
I'm not sure I do. Have I never seen a basilisk? Ate jellied ham? Have I never licked a lamppost in winter?
Sex.
Oh, so that's what we're talking about. Well, if you really want to know, you tell me first.
Tell you what, of course I have.
And apparently you have no shame as well. Well, all right, I'll play along. I, myself, never had the pleasure. Not that I haven't thought about it, of course. But, you know.
Oh, that's just mean. You never had the opportunity?
Well, living in the Chantry is it's not exactly a life for rambunctious boys. They raised me to be a gentleman. That's not so bad, is it?
No. Well, not really, no.
I've no urge to rush into anything. We may not even survive what is to come, after all. Enough. I don't want to talk about this anymore. Let's go. Something on your mind?
I have questions.
Of course.
What changes about you after the joining?
You mean other than becoming a Grey Warden?
You've been a Grey Warden longer than I have.
You know, I asked Duncan this too, and all I got was, "You'll see."
He wouldn't tell you?
Oh, it's not that Duncan wants to keep it a secret. It's just that the Grey Wardens don't discuss it much. I gather it's not a pleasant topic. The first change I noticed was an increase in appetite. I used to get up in the middle of the night and raid the castle larder. I thought I was starving. I'd slurp down every dinner like it was my last. My face all covered in gravy. When I'd look up, the other Grey Wardens would stare, then laugh themselves to tears.
So it was a joke.
More like an initiation. They all went through it too. Oh, and then there were the nightmares. Duncan said it was part of how we sense the Darkspawn. We tap into their, well, I don't know what you call it, their group mind. And when we sleep, it's even worse. You learn to block it out after a while, but at first it's hard. It's supposed to be worse for those who join during a Blight. How is it for you?
Nightmares. Yes, I know what you mean.
Some people never have much trouble, but that's rare. Others have trouble sleeping their entire life. They're just more sensitive, I suppose. Everyone ends up the same, though. Once you reach a certain age, the real nightmares come. That's how a Grey Warden knows his time has come.
His time has come.
Oh, that's right. We never had time to tell you that part, did we? Well, in addition to all the other wonderful things about being a Grey Warden, you don't need to worry about dying from old age. You've got 30 years to live, give or take. The Taint, it's a death sentence. Ultimately, your body won't be able to take it. When the time comes, most Grey Wardens go to Orzammar and die in battle rather than waiting. It's tradition.
Why Orzammar?
You'll always find Darkspawn down where the dwarves are. The oldest Grey Wardens head to the deep roads for one last glorious battle. Not that there's a shortage of Darkspawn during a Blight, but that's the tradition. The dwarves respect us for it. And you wondered why we kept the joining a secret from the new recruits. There you have it.
I never wondered that. I understand.
You know, Duncan, he started having the nightmares again. He told me that in private. He said it wouldn't be long before he'd go to Orzammar himself. I guess he got what he wanted. I just wish it had been something worthy of him.
You'll be remembered, Alistair, as will the others.
I know. Ending the Blight should make this all worthwhile, right?
And we're done with him. Now, Leliana.
Something I can help with?
I'd like to talk to you about something.
Yes? What's on your mind?
This vision of yours.
I knew this would come up sooner or later. I don't know how to explain it, but I had a dream. In it, there was an impenetrable darkness. It was so dense, so real. And there was a noise, a terrible, ungodly noise. I stood on a peak and watched as the darkness consumed everything. And when the storm swallowed the last of the sun's light, I fell, and the darkness drew me in.
You dreamed of the Blight.
I suppose I did. That was what the darkness was, no? When I woke, I went to the Chantry's gardens, as I always do. But that day, the rosebush in the corner had flowered. Everyone knew that bush was dead. It was grey and twisted and gnarled, the ugliest thing you ever saw. But there it was, a single beautiful rose. It was as though the Maker stretched out his hand to say, even in the midst of this darkness, there is hope and beauty. Have faith.
And this made you want to help me?
In my dream, I fell. Or maybe I jumped. I'd do anything to stop the Blight. I know that we can do it. There are so many good things in the Maker's world. How can I sit by while the Blight devours everything?
I suppose I couldn't sit by either.
That is why you're a Grey Warden. Come, there's a Blight to stop. Something I can help with?
I'd like to talk to you about something.
Yes? What's on your mind?
Why did you decide to come to Ferelden?
My mother was from Denerim, and I consider myself a Ferelden. Mother served an Orlesian noblewoman who lived here when Orlais ruled. When Orlais was defeated and the common folk began to resent the presence of any Orlesian, the lady returned to Orlais. She took my mother with her. I was born in Orlais and did not set foot in Ferelden till much later. Mother was always telling me stories of her homeland. I think she missed it.
What happened to your mother?
Mother died when I was very young. Lady Cecily let me stay with her. I had no one else. She was quite old then, and she had me study music and dance to entertain her. It is unfair that I have more memories of Cecily than my mother.
Do you remember nothing of your mother?
Strangely, the only thing I really remember of Mother was her scent. She kept dried flowers in her closet amongst her clothes. Small white Ferelden wildflowers with a sweet fragrance. Mother called them Andraste's Grace. They were very rare in Orlais. But enough about that. Let us move on. Something I can help with?
I'd like to talk to you about something.
Yes? What's on your mind?
Do you miss anything about Orlais?
I miss Val Royeaux. Unlike other cities where the people are the lifeblood and the character, Val Royeaux was her own person, and her people little more than decorations. There was always music in Val Royeaux, streaming from the many windows, quiet refrains and triumphant choruses, and always, floating above that all, the chant, coming from the Grand Cathedral. It was magnificent.
It sounds wonderful.
Oh, it would take me a day or two to talk about the many splendors of Orlais, her golden fields, her lush meadows. Of course, there are good things and bad things about Orlais, like anywhere else. Sometimes I miss it dearly, and sometimes I'm glad I'm rid of it. And you will laugh at this, but I miss the fine things I had in Orlais.
What sort of things?
Dresses, fine dresses and furs. And shoes, of course. One can't mingle with nobility with bad shoes, you see. Orlais is very fashionable. Almost ridiculously so. But the shoes. Living with those ridiculous trends was worth it for the shoes.
What's so special about shoes?
Well, they're shoes. They're pretty. Some of them anyway. When I left Orlais, the fashion was shoes with delicate tapered heels and embellishments in the front. A ribbon, perhaps, or embroidery. In soft colors, of course. It was spring.
It must have cost a lot of gold.
Yes, well, a fair amount. It is so frivolous and wasteful, I know. But I have such a weakness for lovely shoes. Oh, I could talk about shoes all day. But we have things to do, don't we?
Alright, so I know you all can no longer be bored. Thankfully, even though they're all fully happy with me, it still is the natural progression of discussion. So I'm thankful for that. Let's get a mission.
You're a hard man to find. Where are my manners? The name is Levy Dryden. Did Duncan ever mention me? Levy of the Coins? Levy the Trader?
I'm Aldrin. I've never heard of you.
Really? He never told you of old Levy? We've known each other for years. But here I am carrying on while you have a blight to stop. Don't want to waste your time. But you see, Duncan promised that together we'd look into something important for the Wardens. And for me. But poor Duncan's... well, no more. A tragedy it is, at that. But I know he would want his work carried on. His pledge fulfilled.
What promise did Duncan make to you?
Well, as you know, my family's name is mud around noble circles. My great-great-grandmother, Sophia Dryden, was the last Warden commander of Ferelden back when the Wardens were known as freeloaders. So King Arlen banished the Wardens, and he took House Dryden's land and titles.
What happened next?
Hard to say. After King Arlen died, there was a civil war, loads worse than this one. And our family was on the run, hunted by enemies, with nary a friend in the world. But Drydens are tough. We rebuilt, became merchants, and we never lost our pride.
So what favor did you ask of Duncan?
I asked for the truth. My family reveres Sophia Dryden. We know she died at the old Grey Warden base, Soldier's Peak. We want evidence to clear her name. It won't restore our land or our titles, but it'll restore our honor.
I've never even heard of Soldier's Peak.
Well, no one's been to Soldier's Peak since Arlen's days. At least none that's come back. I spent years mapping the maze of tunnels to the peak, and I found the way a few years back. So I went to Duncan, I did, and I said that he could reclaim the old base and my family could have its honor.
What do you need from me?
I can pick my way through the tunnels at the base of Soldier's Peak, but the place, well, they say it's haunted, and it'll be dangerous for certain. Will you think on it, at least?
Your family's faith will be rewarded. I will help you.
1,000 blessings upon you, Warden. I'll mark down the location on your map. When you arrive, we'll pick our way through the tunnels together.
That's actually one of the 2 DLCs that you got absolutely for free just for buying the game. Otherwise, it was considered day 1 DLC that you would have to pay for. Just gonna gather my party. But that and the Stone Prisoner, which I'm gonna try and do Stone Prisoner first. So the team's gonna be Alistair.
Yes.
I don't want to bring Morgan, but I could use magic. I'll bring Appa. Come on, boy. Look, all these places to go. Van Loren's Land, Soldier's Pass, Red Cook Village. More info. Gotta remember, because the gold ones are DLC, if memory serves me right. Remember. We'll go to Lake Calenhad Docks first, because I don't want to go to the Circle of Magi first. Oh, battle. Oh, nice.
How did a child survive that? The crater is still smoking. It's a boy. 5 fingers, 5 toes. That's all that matters to me. The Maker has answered our prayers. Let's go home, Marta, and raise the Tyke as our own.
Superman reference. Don't know why it's in there, but still awesome. But I'm actually surprised. What that is down there with the Soldier's Peak DLC is you get what's known as the Star Sword, because it's a space meteorite. And it makes a very badass sword that I am undoubtedly going to use, but did not expect to get that so early. But you'll see situations like that. As you're traveling through the land, you'll have random encounters, which are pretty cool. Almost forgot to put some of the stuff on you. Keep in the house days 1. Session Forbidden Secrets, so that's for mage users. The Runic Worry token. That's right, blood magic. Don't care about blood magic. Spells, spell ward. Excuse me. You can have that. Religious hostility. Yes, that's actually perfect for you. I know you want your Seeker's Circle. Actually, no. Let's keep you the Seeker's Circle. That's all we can do for now. Oh, okay, that's based off just strength alone. Need to get your strength up so you can actually wear that. Now that I have the ore, I'll be on my way.
Do you see the view from the top must be spectacular.
Deathroot. Hey, Mr. Deserter.
You have some kind of problem?
I'm here on behalf of the Blackstone Irregulars.
Oh? What was this about?
Hey, you stole supplies from the guild.
I worried this might happen. I hoped it wouldn't be you who came for me. I have no choice. Forgive me, Warden, but I cannot go back with you.
Oh man, you should just talk to me then. Let me know why. It didn't have to be this way, man.
As you desire.
You can run while you can.
That's it. Just die already.
It didn't have to be this way.
As you desire.
Get back here, shady thug.
Watch it!
The battle is finished. Hey.
Go ahead and piss on it. Check him out.
Why, bless myself. What's a distinguished personage like yourself doing here?
I was looking to cross the lake to the tower.
Don't hold your breath. No one's been allowed to cross the lake for days. I'm the ferryman. Leastwise, I used to be. Poor old Kester. Out of a job.
So why can't I get across? Or so can I get across?
Gregor just came down and said, "Don't you worry, Kester. We got it all under control, we do." Didn't say nothing else. And then he puts Carol in charge of my boat. Lissy. Named for my grandmum, she was.
Who's Gregor?
He's Knight Commander of the Templars up in the tower. Good man.
So is there no way for me to get to the tower?
You could try swimming, but I don't recommend it. Nasty things in that lake. I reckon it's all them potions they dump in there. Gregor's told me to stay here till it blows over, but I'm telling you, some storms don't blow over easy.
I could convince the Templars to let me in.
Maybe you could at that. I'm sure your mind's all afire now, eh?
What are your opinions on the circle?
I reckon it's good for them mages. Gather them all, learn them some proper magics. I know what they say about mages, but the Maker made them for a purpose. If you can't trust him, who can you trust?
So, you know the Knight Commander Gregor well?
Oh, I can't say that. I'm lucky he's good enough to give me the time of day. The first enchanter's all right. He's polite as can be, but he's always a little distant, if you get my drift. But Gregor'll stay to talk. I reckon he likes hearing from us common folk, you know? He's a man to be respected, that Gregor.
I can't stay. Good day, Kester.
All right. Keep safe, you hear?
Fruit. Mage Collective.
You're the Grey Warden, aren't you? Exactly who I was hoping to meet. I represent a collective of mages interested in going about their lives without the constant scrutiny of the Chantry.
How can I help you?
Next to me, and in every major settlement, you will find an inconspicuous sack containing requests from mages all over the land who need the assistance of someone skillful and discreet.
I'll take a look at these requests.
Thank you, my friend. We have agents in every major settlement to reward you for work done on behalf of the collective. Makers smile upon you. Good to see you.
Do.
Again.
Nope, that's it.
Good to see you again.
Let's go inside the Spoiled Princess. Don't worry, people. You get a chance to see magic. That's part of the reason why I'm going to the circle. There's one of my favorite magic users in there. Open the chest.
I finished.
What are you looking at? Can a man drink in peace?
Pah! Watered down ale, damp beds, rickety stools.
Good
Why
day.
do I even bother?
Can't talk to people.
Good day, and welcome to the Spoiled Princess. Is there something I can get for you?
Why is he even called the Spoiled Princess?
It was my father's idea. He ran the inn before me, and he named it for my sister. She was his little princess. princess decided the country was too dull for her and moved to Denerim. More glamorous, she said. Well, she was found murdered, robbed of all the trinkets my father bought her with his hard-earned money. My father died of shock and heartbreak. Mother stopped eating, and I got the struggling in. The name stuck. That's the story.
Damn. Got screwed over. Like a drink.
Of course. What would you like?
To actually sell you stuff. Just kidding. I don't want drinks. I want to get rid of this garbage. Ooh. Nope, fire. Don't care about fire. This is amulet. Nope. Old ring doesn't matter. Iron ring doesn't matter. Give me all your health potions. Okay, no, you have nothing else. Pretty good on all that stuff. Get that. Get that. Any trap triggers. See, I had all that money before, and I'm actually noticing as it's slowly whittling away. Actually, oh, I guess that's it. What I need to get Sten and come back here. Because he said this is where his sword was at. Your races, the race that you choose, as well as the class that you choose, is going to have different identifiers that are going to have different effects as far as the